What's going on, everyone? Happy Thursday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had taken a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Thursday edition of the Pandemic Update for Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. You just clicked on to today's pandemic update on all things COVID and any other virus that could be a health threat to you. Today, you're going to hear a lot about new COVID information, new COVID numbers in several states, and some stuff about other viruses as well. Do you want to stay informed with what's going on with all these different viruses, to help keep you safe with what's going on in your community? Subscribe to my channel down below. It's the best way to do it. I provide more information on these levels than any of the media, or even the government for that matter, because I collect as much information as I can gather into my web browser here, queue up a whole bunch of tabs, and then report this information to you just about almost every day. So subscribe down below to stay informed. Give this a thumbs up to help push my content throughout the YouTube algorithm. Let's go big. Let's try for 200 like button hits today. Hit that notification bell. Share these videos with anyone you know, and leave a comment down below. All right, starting off today, we do have several news stories to talk about. Then we'll get to some data and some state data as well, including some dashboards that did update today. Starting off with something you have been waiting for, and that is the fall boosters. A lot of people have been asking, when's the fall boosters coming? When are they coming? Well, they're being approved right now. Now it's going to be going down to when is your local pharmacy going to get them. And it is the Moderna and Pfizer boosters that are being approved, which I believe will be targeting the KP.2 variant at this time, subvariant strain at this time. I do not have any information for those who are wondering about Novavax. I'm not seeing anything, and Novavax is something I do follow quite frequently, and I'm not seeing any timeline. Hopefully we will hear something about Novavax in the near future. I know I myself am someone who wants to get the Novavax booster. So if you wanted the other booster, the Moderna and Pfizer shots, which will target KP.2 variant, well, that is now out, and it's just a matter of when is your pharmacy going to get it. You'll have to call your local pharmacy or pharmacies in your area to ask them, hey, when will you be getting this booster shot in? Moving on, Thailand confirms they have had a case of the new strain of Mpox known as Clade 1b. This is the second case known outside of Africa, so it says. I think Sweden had a case as well, but I don't recall any reports on what the strain was as of yet. Moving on to our next story. We have a lot of news stories today. I mean, it's not a good day. Wayne Hills Preschool, this is in Virginia, is closed for the week after staff tests positive for COVID-19. So yes, yet another school outbreak. The archive for school outbreaks on my website, that list continues to grow. It's not a good thing whatsoever. Minnesota confirms a measles cases now reach 29 infections this year. So there have now been 29 infections in Minnesota this year. Atlanta confirms that they have now had their 5th measles case of the year. Yes, not a good thing. Measles is still out there, and as Minnesota says that they're now at 29, well, Oregon says we can do you better. Oregon, well, do worse, I should say. Oregon now reports that they have 30 measles cases in unvaccinated people so far this year. Not a good thing. All right, who remembers the music group Hall & Oates? Well, Daryl Hall ends his P&E concert, this is up in Vancouver, Canada, early due to illness. Apparently he had started the show. He was out there in the middle of the show, and you know what happened during that period? Well, he ended up not feeling well, and he had to just stop performing, and that was the end of the show. Yeah, not a good thing whatsoever. I mean, if he wasn't feeling well as the show was about to begin, it should have been canceled. Did this come on suddenly? Was it something that he was feeling somewhat unwell before the show, and then it got worse as he started to perform? I don't know, but yet again, the music industry is just getting hit really hard, and some are going to say down below, oh, this could be COVID. We don't know that, but as we know many times, in many cases, Oftentimes it is COVID, and for whatever reason, legal purposes, or whatever the case may be, they do not report that it is COVID. All right, the UK updated today. Good news, bad news situation. Good news, cases are down. 1,714 new cases were reported this week. That's down by 602, or 26%. But here's bad news. Deaths are up. They added another 200 deaths this week. That is up by 7, or 3.6%. Patients admitted in healthcare, 2,695. That is down by 455, or 14.4%. So, yes, some good news there. Not good to see the deaths up, but hey, cases are dropping, and we can see here on the chart, they are dropping rather steadily at this point. Moving on now to heat-related illnesses, and we can see here, the plains are doing better. The West Coast and the East Coast still have problems, but almost every state still does have at least one county that is dealing with heat-related illnesses still. And the Northeast, you would think this gets better because we have been treated to some really nice weather with in the past couple days. The only issue we have had in the Northeast is this. Yes, the pollen levels, at least from New York State on southward, have been problematic, but air qualities in the Northeast have not been bad at all. We'll take a look at them next. First off, 49% of the country is in medium to high status for pollen levels. You know, ragweed season. Some fall allergies are going to start coming into play soon. You know, leaves are going to start coming down in about a month or so. And look at all this red. Great Lakes, Midwest, even here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, even around Boston, Massachusetts, you're dealing with problems. The South is a little better. The West Coast is doing the best. Let's take a look at those air qualities, and I suspect they should still be good in the Northeast, or at least I hope. It would be a surprise to me if they go bad. Yeah, still, for the most part, they're okay. We do have some yellows and oranges in the Southeast, especially along the Gulf Coast. That extends back across the central region, across the plains, and still some reds and yellows in the Pacific Northwest. And we do note that in Colorado, just north of Denver, there's some red going on. I'll have to check and see if there's a wildfire going on there. California, still a few issues, but not as bad as it has been. Want to learn more about the climate and weather? Climate Data Report. You can do that over on X. That's where I tweet about that when I have time. Philadelphia yesterday had 840 total EMS incidents reported. That's too high. The weather's nice. It should not be that high right now. All right, taking a look at what's going on in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. And mind you, I have not looked at this in a while. Currently in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, 14 EMS calls, including a stroke. I do see multiple cardiac emergencies, so there is a scattering of calls right now. Let's take a look at Chester County, Pennsylvania. Again, this is just outside of Philadelphia, both of these counties. And a stroke, yep, there's a call for that there right now. And speaking of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, we do need to refresh the dashboard for Pennsylvania and see what's going on. It's Thursday. There's an update for COVID in wastewater. And I'm seeing here mixed information. It looks like the eastern portion of the state, southeast Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area, no change. So anywhere that did see an increase, it's still elevated levels in those areas. Taking a look at the Lehigh Valley, we do see a decrease there in Allentown area. And in northeast Pennsylvania, again, anywhere that rose, it didn't change. It's just holding steady right now. Or if they dropped, it's holding steady at those levels as well. Central region is not doing too bad. But in the western portion of the state, there are multiple wastewater sites that are now showing increases in the Pittsburgh area. Allegheny County, not one, not two, but 3 wastewater sites are seeing increases, and we continue to note that there's an increase in Bradford County, Pennsylvania as well. Walgreens this week. Let's go to flu first. All right, since flu is on the screen. Under 1% positivity rate for flu at this time. The COVID positivity rate this week was 37%. The prior week was 38.3%. Difference of down 1.3%. And total tests, that's up to 13,913 versus 11,620. Will that number of tests continue to rise? We'll have to find out again next week. All right, I want to show you this wastewater site. This is Harrison, Arkansas. We've shown you this wastewater site many times before, but we have to look at it for a different reason. Not COVID, not norovirus. Remember they had that huge norovirus problem early in the year? But take a look at this. On August 19th, there is the detection of H5 N1, yes, H5N1 is being detected in wastewater. Now, I don't know if this could potentially be a human case or if it's for cattle. I don't know what it's actually for, but something, some living thing in that area, meaning whether it be a person or an animal, right now is actively shedding virus. So H5N1, it's being detected in that area. Let's take a look at the national map real quickly, and we can see for COVID, looks like levels have tried to level off at this time, and there is still just a slight rise, so we'll have to keep an eye on that going forward. Canada, and I do need to refresh this, the viral activity level for COVID-19 is moderate at this time. The flu A, flu B, and RSV are coming in at low levels at this time. All right, let's go over to the notes for today, and there are a ton of notes. Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 pandemic update notes. First off, you see I have CVS exposure listed here. Yes, I had a potential exposure. I got to tell you about this. Real quick story. So one of the things I do is I deliver prescriptions. If I see a prescription pop up on the map, I put in an offer, and they select to the best driver, or however they decide who's going to get the prescription delivery. I put in for one in CVS here in Southeast Pennsylvania. So I drive on over to the CVS, like I normally would. Go into the CVS to pick up the prescription. As I'm walking back to the pharmacy, I hear a little bit of an argument going on when I get back there. And they're saying, "Sir, you should not be here right now," to a customer. I'm going, okay, what's this all about? Turns out there's a maskless guy back at the pharmacy stating, "Oh, well, I just completed my course of Paxlovid," aka he has COVID, and well, I came to pick up our other prescriptions, and they start saying, "Sir, you should not be here right now. We need you to put on a mask. You shouldn't have come in to pick up these prescriptions." And he's saying in his raspy, sick voice, saying, "Oh, well, I just want to pick up these prescriptions." On and on he argues. Eventually, after 2 minutes go by, they finally get him to put on an N95. I stay as far away as possible, but yeah, it's just totally ridiculous that people go out into the wild while they're positive, thinking, "Oh, well, I'm done Paxlovid, I must not be contagious anymore." Be careful of your surroundings. You do not know if the person next to you in line, wherever you go, doesn't even have to be a pharmacy, the supermarket checkout. Maybe there's a line for self-checkout. Maybe there's a register next to you at self-checkout. You don't know if that person is actively positive. That is why it is so risky out there right now. And that's just really the short version of the story. I mean, I walked out of there like, oh, great. Someone was just right there with COVID, and you could clearly tell he was sick by the voice and everything. I mean, at least he did put the N95 mask on. So that's my little story today, and warning for you. Be aware of your surroundings, because you don't know who is actively shedding virus. I don't know how many days he was sick. I don't know how long his Paxlovid course was, or whatever the case was. But, yeah. All right, moving on. Florida yesterday had 2,207 new cases and 32 new deaths in their daily update for Wednesday, and for the following information, we thank user CJS83172 for providing this information in the comment sections of my videos. And New Jersey for Wednesday added 729 new cases. We'll look at their dashboard just a little bit. Puerto Rico, 613 new cases and 0 deaths were reported in Wednesday's report. Arizona weekly numbers. I think the rest of these are weekly numbers now. They added 3,809 new cases and 17 new deaths. That seems like an increase to me. Colorado, 2,583 new cases and 18 CDC reported deaths. We'll look at their dashboard in a moment. Delaware, weekly update, 475 new cases, which is a slight increase over last week, he says, and 3 new deaths. Hawaii weekly update, 610 new cases and 5 new deaths. Indiana weekly update, 4,010 new cases and 22 new deaths. New Mexico adds 1,704 new cases. Nevada, 973 new cases and 5 new deaths. Tennessee added 6,839 new cases with 14 new deaths. Washington, 2,958 new cases and 34 new deaths. This includes 7 deaths for some reason from the 2022 2023 season. And the states that will report the highest number of deaths, well, that's going to come later in the week. As we know, California, Florida, probably Texas as well, and maybe some others will have high numbers. So I think we're on track for probably another week with at or over 1,000 deaths being reported in the United States. Alrighty, CDC data. All that is going to update again tomorrow. New Jersey's dashboard. We can see here the hospitalizations. I think this is an accurate number today. 552 people in hospital, with 70 out of 70 hospitals reporting. 14 people on a ventilator. In the ICU, 61 at this time. And taking a look at discharges. 96 yesterday. That does not include deaths. New York State added 2,344 new positive cases. Taking a look at what's going on with their hospitalizations at this time, we can see they had 1,222 people hospitalized and 112 people in the ICU at this time. Let's take a look at New York City, shall we? And let's see what's going on there. In New York City, we do see that that's not New York City. It always does that. It refreshes because I haven't refreshed in a while. New York City, we do see that this week they're seeing a little bit of an increase in hospitalizations, at least compared to what they had ending last week, and it's not even a major increase. 419 people in the hospital and 48 people in the ICU at this time. And we do note last year they had slight increases for hospitalizations right when back to school did occur. And let's briefly take a look at Western New York as well. And Western New York today is slightly lower, 61 in the hospital with 5 people in the ICU. Ohio reported its weekly update today, and unfortunately not good. Republican Ohio, a state that you would not expect to be doing a lot of testing. Here we are, 8,352 new cases. Last week was 7,347. Yeah, that's a big increase for the state of Ohio. So it is continuing to rise there and has not slowed down yet. I hope within a couple of weeks it does start to trend lower, but hey, it's up once again. Something that has trended a little lower this week was that in the last week they reported 216 hospitalizations and deaths for 21 for the last week. So even deaths, now actually deaths are going up a little bit. Hey, listen to that. An ambulance. The pandemic, I'm telling you, the pandemic continues. I've never heard so many ambulances living in this area for 34 years. There's just so many ambulances these days. Colorado's COVID-19 data. 153 people are currently hospitalized in Colorado. And we do note here that the positivity rate took a significant drop to 17.9%. That is down by 8.3%. Emergency department visits are flat, and it does look like here that's at 1.9%. And the cases here are reported just slightly different than what we read before. It's 2,581, and ending today on the state of Washington, where we do note, look at this, the ICU number, COVID-19. There's 6 people in the 6 people added to the ICU count. It increased by 6. And so that makes it be 26 people in the ICU. Hopefully that number will drop soon. Hospital admissions and percent of emergency department visits have been dropping. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Thursday edition of the Pandemic Update. Tomorrow we'll get new CDC data and whatever news of the day, and I'm sure we'll look at some other things as well. I will see you all again tomorrow. Just a quick note. I made a slight change to the comment section down below. If you do not see your comment posted, don't worry. It's there. I have now set it to where I need to improve each and every individual comment. That way, it makes the community friendlier, safer. We don't have to deal with a bunch of nonsense. And, I think it'll be working much better. All right, my website, datareport.info. You know the website where you can go find about all kinds of things about COVID and other viruses. Of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Want to stay informed with what's going on? Subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell. Share these videos with anyone you know. And of course, leave your comments down below, which I will review individually and approve. Alrighty, see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone. Have a fantastic Thursday afternoon, and thanks for watching.